In college, we used to fuck with people.
Fucking paranoid about my peephole.
It's real easy just to grab their peephole and turn the people around. I hope somebody grabs that, put them together through a hole, and screw them together.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, don't be so mayo. Come on. Be extreme.
Don't be so mayo, guys.
Don't be so mayo.
That's really the only reason I decided to use that theme song.
What an interesting theme song.
I totally forgot about that achievement. That was in Skate 2?
Skate 3.
Skate 3?
It was the, the Mayonnaise Council's achievement placement.
We're running a different podcast crew today. We got Gus, Jeff, and Matt Hullum
What's up, everybody?
gracing our presence from upstairs.
I like, this is the second time we're recording this intro because Gus forgot to press the record button the first time.
And then blamed it on his new computer.
There was an error.
The first time we started was all Matt Hullum insults.
Yeah.
How about I wasn't good looking enough to be on the video version of the Drunk Tank, and I'm filling in at the, I'm on C Team. Was that right?
Yeah, they got the C crew
I'm on C
in
team.
to fill things out.
But you know what, Gus? I think whenever I show up for the podcast, I make you nervous.
You do.
Because this is in the last two times I've been on the podcast, you've forgotten to press record when we started the podcast. We did the last time I was here. We did it at the beginning of it as well.
It's your striking good looks. I'm just intimidated. I can't bring myself to say it.
Apparently, all of us are good looking. We read the comments on the Drunk Tank
Oh,
video,
yeah. They love us.
and it's the first time they've seen any of us.
Yeah.
Somehow, despite like 3 seasons of RT Shorts and countless other times we've appeared on the internet.
I think I read one comment that was, I've met you guys in person several times at conventions, but I didn't know what you looked like until I watched the Drunk Tank.
I like, man, I didn't know what the red versus blue guys looked like, and now I do, and I wish I still didn't.
What's up,
Awesome.
What's up, Bernie? We got a late entry here.
Hello, everyone.
I like that Bernie comes in with sunglasses and a beer.
I gotta turn my headphones up.
Like,
You know,
he's
after
like, and a hoodie. He's like Judd Nelson in any 80s movie.
It's like it's Zach Galifianakis meets the Unabomber. Just walked in.
no, you're a genius because you show up for work early. How do I plug in here? I don't have my headphones on.
Yeah, I think the video podcast went over pretty well. We're hoping to do some more of those in the future. It won't replace the audio podcast, but we'll do it every now and then.
My favorite part about the video podcast is that Gus made one video podcast, and he doesn't plan to do them regularly, yet he still managed to get a new computer out of you guys.
Yeah? Hell yeah.
He made one video podcast on an old computer, said, I don't think I'm going to do this very often, but you guys should buy me a new computer, just in case.
Let me tell you exactly how that went. He said, the video podcast went well, and I said, yeah. He goes, it was really hard to edit on my computer. I'm thinking I'm going to look at getting a new computer. I go, well, if you need a new computer to do it, you should definitely look at that. He goes, okay. He's apparently looking at it in his office.
Yeah.
If I've learned one lesson working here, it's as soon as someone tells you can buy a new piece of hardware, you buy it. You don't even wait. It's just the same way I got the mixer. It's like I was like, I think maybe we could use a few more microphones. But he's like, yeah, okay, I think we should look into that.
Gus,
Mixer ordered.
Would you allow me to run a little experiment?
Do it.
For Mac users who are not aware, or people who don't use a Mac, I should say, there's a program called Spotlight, which we can easily find things on someone's computer.
Yes.
So, let's see. Does he have Final Cut installed, or does he have World of Warcraft installed? Shall we check? Let's check.
You can check. I got them both.
I'm going to guess he has both. And only because of Time Machine.
Soundtrack Pro, Final Cut, Compressor, and World of Warcraft's over there next to Photoshop.
Can I see the application folder with install dates, please? Shall we check that?
Yeah, sure, if you want.
Why look at the time.
You know what? I don't want to embarrass anybody. That's not my job here. My job is to support employees.
Final Cut, September 27th, 2010. World of Warcraft, December 6th, 2010.
How are you installing stuff in December? Is this your new computer or your old computer?
Yeah, it's Time Machine, though.
Oh.
By the way,
How about run by date?
Griffin had to bring some stuff home from work last night to work on at home, and some stuff for some shorts, and so I drove it back up here today, and it didn't fit in my car very well, so I think I'm going to need to get a company car.
Oh, that's a good deal.
So if you want me to look at
Sometime in
that.
the future,
We
you
have
might
we have a company truck to move stuff around. I don't know if you know that.
Speaking of which, I got to move that company truck over to the company because my insurance was canceled because Griffin wrecked my truck.
How does that happen? Griffin wrecks your truck, and they cancel your insurance.
Here's exactly what happened. I have insurance, and I pay them every month.
Hell yeah.
Every goddamn month, I pay them for insurance. So what happens, but my car gets into an accident. Part of my coverage is that I can have uninsured drivers, in other words, people that I know personally who might borrow a truck.
Sure, it happens all the time with trucks.
As you do.
Yes.
And so she gets in this wreck, so then...
and by the way, wreck, I mean, she tapped another car.
Yeah, she skidded and rear-ended somebody, which sounds hot, but it's not. So my insurance agent basically Jeff, I'm sure you've been on a call like this before after your house was robbed. It's like, guess what? We've looked at it. Yeah, we've decided we're going to cover you. We're going to do you a favor, and we're going to cover the damages to the other vehicle, even though it's in my policy and they have to do it. So then what they did was they sent me this form that said, it's basically like you're not going to run with a bad crowd form. It's this is an excluded driver. You are not going to allow
I can't be friends with Griffin anymore.
Griffin Ramsey to drive your truck anymore, and I have to sign it and send it back to them.
She's got like the scarlet letter now.
Yeah.
If Griffin gets sick, do you think they'll find out and then you'll lose your health insurance as well? Is that the way it works?
Yeah.
It's all proximity. It's all like 6 degrees of Griffin Ramsey.
Exactly. She'll have trouble calculating her grocery bill not to buy her new computer as well. So they want this excluded coverage, and I refuse to sign it. I pay for insurance. I've more than paid for that accident over the course that I've been with this company.
Absolutely.
We're not going to name them, but it rhymes with Schmarmer's Insurance. And so I refuse to sign it, so they canceled my insurance.
Wow.
And it cancels. It's actually they're going to refuse to renew my policy. So
that sounds much nicer.
Yeah.
Those assholes.
And guess what? Auto insurance, that's like the iPod of the insurance world. That is the gateway drug.
Yep.
Wherever my auto insurance goes, guess what? Everything else is going over there too. Every other thing.
You hear that, Schmarmers?
House insurance,
That's your lost schmarmers.
life insurance. Let me tell you, I'm an unhealthy dude. That's a big chunk of change. I'm drinking at 9 in the morning with sunglasses.
You wouldn't have been able to let Griffin in your house, so they would have had to have you fill out the
Yeah,
excluded person policy. This person's a dangerous person. They might fall onto your stove.
Do not allow in kitchen.
Although, I should just keep that form around for whenever Griffin is cranky. And just like, look, I signed this form. I'm excluded from this. I have my trump card now. This is my get out of Griffin free card whenever I want it.
Wish I could.
Do you want it? Do you want a copy of it?
Yeah. Just slide one under my door.
That'd be awesome. So did you see the news today? I guess that Gore Verbinski
Gore Verbinski?
was talking about the now on ice BioShock movie.
Yes, it
Yes.
did.
No.
He said that I guess the studio wanted him to make a PG-13 movie, but he couldn't imagine making that movie for at any rating other than R. So they reached an impasse, and now the movie's just kind of dead.
They also weren't happy with the $160 million budget, right?
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
God damn, man. Why is it so hard to get a decent budget for a video game movie?
Because they all suck and they don't make any money.
I guess so. Just
That's
attach Will
probably a
Smith
good
to
reason,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. Just fuck.
What? You're trying to come up with a good video game movie, aren't you?
I was trying to, but I can't.
think-
I almost said Men in Black, but
I
it's
know.
a comic book.
It's a comic book movie, and not a well-known comic book either.
No,
A
not at
very,
all.
A very obscure one.
What's your favorite, or what do you think is the best video game movie?
Probably Tomb Raider.
I think the most successful is probably the Resident Evil franchise now.
Yeah, they make about. I think Tomb Raider 1 made the most money out of a video game movie, maybe, but
I think
Resident
it
Evil
now
made,
costs
like-
less to produce a
Yeah.
Resident Evil movie.
I think
than
they
the
make
Resident Evil game.
Yeah.
I think they make
Yeah.
Resident Evil movies for like $30 now. It seems like
they're
and like 15 of it is for TV commercials.
up to number 4. Is that right? 4 or 5?
50% of it's machinima.
They just take old PS1 footage of the original Resident Evil.
See, now, if I was directing a video game movie and I was directing Resident Evil, I would never point the camera at the actors. I would have them, like, around the corner, just like Resident Evil. That's
Yeah.
how the camera works in Resident Evil. Have the dude framed way far on the left and the implication of zombies off screen somewhere.
It'd be 20 minutes of a door slowly opening.
The audience like, oh, fuck, oh, fuck. I hear it. It's way worse in my head than in real life.
Anytime the projectionist has to change a reel, you just have them go to the door and have the door slowly open for 20 seconds.
I don't know. What is a successful video game movie?
I'm trying to think of even the last one I
It's-
saw. I remember when we saw, was it the Doom movie?
How much did Doom
With
make?
The Rock?
Yeah, it was
And it's
Doom.
like, they didn't finish the script, basically. I think they get to a certain point in the script and they just decided to copy and paste from earlier points in the script because there were about 80 lines of dialogue in that movie that were just the word what.
Yeah, it was. Man, I used to make fun of that all the time.
that movie made $28 million.
20
Wow.
million on a budget of
60.
Can
There
you
you
look
go.
up highest
There you
grossing
go.
video game movie of all time?
I'm gonna go back and watch
see.
Doom now that you said that.
What?
I've always wanted to cut together all the what's from Doom. It's The Rock. It's like, these are demons. They've opened a portal to hell. What? that's the big conflict in the movie. You're out of ammo. What? Should go through and see how many what's there are, dude.
Oh, man.
I mean, you could have done like Control F on that script, find what, and just replace with damn it, and it would have been at least a little bit better. What? I don't understand anything.
The highest grossing video game adaptation is Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
Yes.
The first one.
How much did it make?
$131 million.
Okay.
And the second highest grossing is Prince of Persia: Sands of Time.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one.
Wasn't that
Number 3, Pokemon, the first movie.
Didn't the guy from Ubi say that Prince of Persia was going to be Disney's new Harry Potter kind of franchise? Like it was going to break all records?
Oh, really?
Really?
I don't
I remember
that.
like somebody going out on a limb with that movie before it came out with just like a massive, this is going to be the best thing ever.
Wow,
quote, which I would never do with a video game.
That movie made a ton of money overseas.
Prince of Persia?
Did it?
It made 90 million US and 244 foreign.
Probably big in Persia.
Oh.
They thought he was a real prince, so they felt like they were obligated to go watch.
They all flew in on their carpets. How could you? Did they have a flying carpet in Prince of Persia?
I don't think so.
Has anybody in this room seen that movie?
Yes, we
Oh,
saw
yeah, we
it at
had to.
RBBTO, right?
No, it
That's
was
right.
Ken West, wasn't it?
Ken West?
Yeah, y'all saw it when you went to Ken West.
That's what it was.
How was it?
Sorry.
Was Jake dreamy?
I had in my head too much how upset Brandon was already as a Persian person. How upset he was that Jake Gyllenhaal was cast as the Prince of Persia.
There were no Persians or Iranians in that entire movie, were there?
No, I don't think so. So the Persian Empire is now Iran, right?
Right.
That's it's been whittled down by what Alexander the Great did that, and now it's because it used to could be everything from essentially Saudi Arabia to China was the Persian Empire,
think so,
right?
Yeah, it was huge.
And then Alexander the Great just came chomp 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 to there. Was Genghis Khan after Alexander the Great? We should know that. That's something you should know.
I believe so. I believe yes. I'm going to say yes.
Google.
I'm going to look it up.
I think ultimately through history, Genghis Khan won that conflict because I don't see a lot of Alexander the Great restaurants, and there are a ton of Genghis Khan Mongolian barbecue
That's a
restaurants.
very good point.
So, I mean, that's a legacy right there. That's what you want.
Didn't Alexander the Great die in a dumb way?
I don't think so.
Like a dumb illness early on?
I think he had a wound that he died from over time, right?
yeah,
Like a
dumb.
wound in his side. Yeah, what a chump.
Yeah, Alexander the Great was 300 BC. Genghis Khan was like 1200 AD.
There you go.
And BC's before AD.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's like a 1500 year difference.
But it's he had 300 years to go, and Alexander the Great had 1200 away from it.
Yeah. So 1500 year difference.
That's a long time.
That's a big difference.
So they probably never hung out.
Yeah, they didn't know each other.
so Genghis Khan won.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing from this.
Apparently
Get a higher
so.
score. I read some kind of weird stat that you could trace a certain percentage of the global lineage to Genghis Khan.
Really?
Yeah.
What's that percentage? The
dude got-
horniest
I'm
percentage?
just gonna say 50. Just
That
because
dude got around.
I had some dude come at me in the comments where he said, "I'm gonna do my voice. Is there a single podcast we go through where Bernie doesn't get something totally wrong?" And the answer to that question is, sir, no.
Yeah, I saw that guy too.
What do you think? He didn't even say what I got wrong that day.
I don't know.
Oh, I found the thing you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's 0.5% of the male population in the world, or roughly 16 million descendants living today.
That's weird.
That's pretty awesome.
On a Darwinian level, that dude won.
Yeah.
I mean,
Big time.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm going to go to a Mongolian barbecue for lunch. Just 'cause of this conversation.
so if you had 200 people working in your company, one of those people would
Yeah.
be descended from Genghis Khan.
Yes.
That's pretty good, dude.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
He wins. Man, speaking of Mongolian barbecue, we found a lot of new restaurants over here off of William Cannon the other day.
Did you?
Do you think 200 years from now or 500 years from now, not to get away from that subject, but like 0.5% of the population will all be related to Wilt Chamberlain? Like he's the new Genghis Khan?
See, he had sex with a lot of women, but did he impregnate a lot of women?
Dude had sex with 10,000 women. He had to have knocked up a few. Plus he's in the NBA. You have to have like 14 illegitimate kids to play in the NBA.
I don't know about that.
That's a requirement. They just keep him on the down low.
Who is more prolific than Wilt Chamberlain? I guess Charlie Sheen is the modern day.
He's working on it. Yeah.
Wilt Chamberlain.
Didn't he do some interview the other day where he kind of hinted at the fact that he does crack?
Who, Charlie Sheen?
Yeah.
Well, it came out
Is
with
it
the
thing where
whole...
he
it
went
came
to-
out that he does crack.
He went to speak to the students in the football program at UCLA, I think it was, or USC.
A baseball program.
It was a baseball
I think, yeah.
program. It's like, how do you set that up? You know, it's like we need to have a motivational speaker come in and talk about kids about staying off drugs. Who should we get? Charlie Sheen? Yeah, that's the first one that comes to mind.
Well, he spoke to the Duke lacrosse guys, and that went really well.
Oh, okay, there you go.
I bet the athletes just voted. That's who they voted for. Who else would you vote for?
Like, if I'm in the same room as Charlie Sheen for more than 15 minutes, there's like a 40% chance that I'm going to get prostitute sex.
It'd be a very motivating speech, though, because Charlie Sheen would go, I've been clean now for, check my watch. What time is it? Wow, is it PM already?
They probably just need to refill their stash, and it was just the easiest way to get it refilled. So Charlie Sheen show up with a fucking briefcase.
Plus, what is the chance that Charlie Sheen is not going to do a motivational speech with, like, 8 lovely assistants? You know, like a magic show.
He, apparently, in that whole story about the drug bender, the 3-day drug bender he was on with the porn stars who he knocked up, and that whole thing, it came out that he's lost all of his teeth to drugs, and he has all golden teeth, and the girl said it was like the grossest thing she'd ever seen, and I guess for the show, they put caps on him to make him look normal.
Really?
Yeah.
Why does he have... Oh, never mind.
You tell me he's...
There's no question you can ask that will have a rational
Casey
explanation when it
Jordan,
comes to
that was
guy.
the chick's name, I think, the porn star.
Wow, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, supposedly his teeth are all gold, and he looks like I don't know,
Flava Flav.
like Flava Flav or like Paul Wall
He
or
looks like
whatever.
Vanilla Bill. It's the white bread Sheen version.
What was the James Bond villain? The guy was it
Jaws.
Yeah.
Also, he's worth $385 million. I read.
Good for him.
Not bad.
You can get a lot of cracking hookers with $385
Apparently,
million.
you can. Yeah, that's a whole boatload of money.
That'll motivate you to succeed in life.
That's interesting too, because like that dude, you would consider to be a pretty big film star, at least back in the day. I bet all that money came from his television show.
I bet.
You know,
Well, what does he make per episode on that 2.5 Men show?
he makes like a $2 million an episode or something, right?
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that's the
crazy.
thing. It's like it seems like in Hollywood you make all your money from just whatever your most recent project is.
Yeah.
It's like athletes. You hear what somebody made in the 80s, and at the time, I'm sure you're like, wow, Tom Selleck makes $40,000 an episode for let me do the math on that. Wow, he makes $800,000 a year playing Magnum PI, and then Charlie Sheen makes that in about 12 minutes on one episode now.
Yeah.
I was reading an article with Stallone not too long ago where he was talking about like all of his recent films, The Expendables.
Dude, the
and
way you
Rambo.
said that, I imagine you and Stallone like in bed, like looking over, and you're like, "Look at this magazine,
I was having
sweetie."
pillow talk with Stallone, and he was talking about how like he was almost broke,
I'm almost broke.
and how hard it was. How hard it was for him to make those movies.
Translating for all the Stallone fans out there.
And how almost impossible it was for him to get movies made. But how those movies made more for him than probably like all the stuff he did in the 80s. Just because, you didn't get paid shit back then.
Yeah, better deals.
Or just get paid so much more now.
So much more now, yeah.
It's insane.
It's like he was a huge fucking star, and he was making next to nothing to destroy his body, and then, comes out of retirement when he's 55 because he has to make money.
Yeah, I looked up this Charlie Sheen thing because you just talked about it, and I guess he got a new contract last May, and he was making $850,000 an episode, but the new contract bumped him up to $1.8 to $1.9 million an episode.
Yeah, there you go.
So he's making like $40 million a year on that, right?
I wonder if that's the highest anyone's ever been paid for a television show.
Yes.
no idea. Who do you think is making more money? You think Adam Sandler's making more money, or David Spade's making more money?
Is David Spade on TV right now?
David Spade's been on like a show pretty much since he left SNL. He's on that Rules of Engagement, I think.
I'm going to say that Sandler's making more money just because...
People remember who Sandler is.
Well, he produces every one of his films, too.
Yeah.
You
Take
know?
it easy over there.
He's the
Yeah,
executive
I would-
producer on every movie he makes.
I would say Sandler. They made a lot of money on Grown Ups, right? This is his most
160
successful movie.
million, yeah.
He's got that other movie coming out.
Oh,
all I
yeah,
know is
yeah.
it's got
Brooklyn
Brooklyn Decker
Decker.
in a bikini, and her boobs are swaying all over the place.
Oh,
Yeah.
you have jogged my memory.
I think that's all they want you to know about
yeah,
it.
that's all I know about that movie. I don't even remember what it's called. And there might be kids in it. I think Jennifer Aniston might be in it. I
Yeah,
don't know.
Jennifer Aniston's in it.
Okay.
Yeah, he made a kids movie too. He made that movie with Kerry Russell about those bedtime stories.
Oh,
Christmas
yeah.
kids movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he made that Click movie recently.
Yeah.
Basically, anything you see
that.
that's Happy Madison, that means if you see that production, it's like that means Adam Sandler's making a lot of money.
He also
a lot
made
of
a...
his titles sound like they could be porn movies. Like Bedtime Stories sounds like one of those like softcore Cinemax kind of movies.
It's like Red Shoe Diaries or something.
He also made a boatload of money on...
The Water Boy. I mean, what is that? You know?
He made a boatload of money on that Paul Blart movie, too.
Oh, he did the
That movie made like $150 million.
Man.
Yeah.
They've got an impressive kind of like little troupe of. I mean, they just keep.
How did
pushing
Kevin
those
James
movies
fall
out.
into that group?
I don't know.
Because because Sandler like surrounds himself with ex SNL casts
Yeah.
and the guys that he like came up with, And then Kevin James just fucking fell in the water.
Maybe he convinced him. He was like, "Don't you remember? I was on there first.
Yeah, right.
I was with you guys. I was the mall cop."
Well, you ever watch King of Queens?
No, I never
he's
saw
a
it.
funny dude. That's a funny show.
The last movie they made kind of bombed, didn't it? The Dilemma. Did anybody go see that?
The Dilemma.
Wasn't that what's his name? James and Vince Vaughn.
And Vince
Oh,
Vaughn?
right. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was just like a couple weeks
That's
ago.
a Ron
Yeah.
Howard film.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
there's a lot of controversy about the gay joke. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Here's how my brain works. We've been talking about M. Sandler. We've been talking about Kevin James. I'm now completely locked out of every other thought except for Jessica Biel in her underwear. That's like I got to that point in my
still
train of
have-
thought, and it's like everybody off.
I still haven't
I
seen
haven't
that
moved
movie.
past Brooklyn Decker yet.
What was that movie she was in with them?
Good luck. No, it was.
It was the.
I pronounce you Chuck and Larry.
I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry. Yeah. That movie made a lot of money too.
Did it?
Yeah, I think it made like a 90 million or 100 million.
But back to Brooklyn Decker. Doesn't she live in Austin? I think I've heard that before.
Is that true?
Yeah, because she's married. Isn't she married to Andy Roddick?
Oh, really?
And he lives here.
Speaking of famous
Yeah,
people in Austin,
So Brooklyn, come on by. We're close.
Yeah, Matt. That's what's been missing from this equation all along between
that's
you and
right.
Brooklyn
She
Decker
just
is
didn't know.
proximity.
She just didn't know that we were, down the street and we're, close by. Just come on down and see us.
She had to be close.
speaking of celebrities in and around Austin, did you see that Janine Lindenmulder got arrested in Hayes County?
No shit.
Recently?
Yeah, it was like
She
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. She was coming, I guess,
that
we
the-
inherited Jesse James now because he bought a house when he was with Sandra Bullock.
Oh, we got him?
Yeah, we have him now. He lives here. He and I guess Kat Von D are here all the time. He had a kid with Janine Lindenmulder, the porn star, who's famous for the photo on the cover of the Blink-182 album.
Yeah.
So the hot nurse, and she came to harass and stalk him, and got picked up in Hayes County and arrested. So
Oh, she came to harass and stalk him. And was she arrested for
she sent
that?
him like 300 text messages in 2 days or something, and they picked her up in Hayes County and put her in jail.
I've sent him 400.
Yeah, I know.
He's dreamy. I actually have seen him in the airport. He's one of the few celebrities that I've ever spotted in the Austin airport.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In the midst of all that stuff where he was getting bashed on the cover of all those tabloids, I mean, people were still just lining up to take pictures with him. And
Absolutely.
Didn't affect anybody's opinion. I don't think that stuff affects anybody. Like Charlie Sheen, he's making a boatload of money on a network TV show. 50 years ago, also, he would not have been able to do that. He'd have been out the door.
Yeah.
Did TV exist 50 years ago? Look
Yes,
that up on
it did.
Wikipedia. So it's 1200 AD. You have a TV.
It's
And you and Genghis Khan are just kicking back watching.
it's the same thing as like when the Mel Gibson thing went
2.5
down.
Mongols.
Well, back then it was just. back then it was just.
It was like literally half of a torso. It was like the mongol was like vertically cut in half.
Oh, it was like when the height of the Mel Gibson drama, when he was knocking teeth out and threatening to have people raped. They did a thing on Howard Stern where they went down in the street and they asked people in the street who is more reprehensible, Howard Stern or Mel Gibson, and it was like 9 out of 10 people said Howard, even though Mel Gibson was like couldn't be getting worse press. And people love actors. They just fucking
Or
watch
people
them.
just really don't like Howard
Or people
Stern.
really don't like Howard Stern.
Have you seen Lethal Weapon? It's awesome.
It is a good movie. It's a really good movie.
He's going to be in a movie that's coming to South by Southwest.
The Beaver.
That Jodie Foster movie. Right?
Yeah, Jodie
Yeah.
Foster movie. Which is tough. I mean, you make a movie and you're in post-production, and then your actor goes out and suddenly changes the tone of your movie entirely. That's kind of a rough deal. You just never know.
Yeah.
And it's already called The Beaver.
Yeah.
So that doesn't help.
I'm sure they had like a 2.5 Men subplot where Charlie pays a girl to act like, she's his girlfriend for a couple days. It's like a really funny subplot. It's like, yeah, we're going to ditch that fucking thing.
So did you? Speaking of Janine Lindenmulder, did you see her mugshot?
No, is it pretty good?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I think she's pretty hot.
She's super hot.
I haven't seen her a couple of years, but she's always struck me as one of the more beautiful porn stars.
She was.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
take it
not
easy.
looking good? Oh.
Whoa.
Just a little age, that's all.
Whoa.
Wow.
That's too much with the stuff there.
Yeah, let me ask you a
It's a
question.
bad haircut.
Let me ask you a question. When you see an older person now, she's a little bit older, she has grayer hair now. When you see an older person with lots of tattoos, I'm talking to you, Jeff, does that scare the shit out of you?
No, I don't give a shit.
Yeah?
No, I don't care.
Because it seems like that ultimately that's the problem with tattoos is that as you get way older, like 50 and 60,
I'm gonna look like a box of melted crayons. Yeah, it's fine.
That's a good way to put it.
What are you gonna do? Life's too short to give a shit about stuff.
I guess so. But it's kind of like the deal of going through tattoos, why I never did it, is like I don't have I guess I don't have the energy or the enthusiasm to go through that much pain for something that permanent. It's like when you talked about Charlie Sheen, I'm envisioning him leaving the set and taking out his caps and putting in the gold teeth.
Yeah.
And that seems like a big pain in the ass. It's just like, okay, well, let's just get Charlie with the regular teeth, and he'll just won't fuck with it. He'll leave it alone. He won't have the enthusiasm. Nope, but he like pulls his teeth out every day, I guess, and puts in the gold teeth.
It seems like a lot of effort.
Does seem like a lot of effort. That's like tattoos. Tattoos seem like a lot of effort to me.
Oh, they're ton.
And I'm always watching you like whenever you have a new
Gotta
one.
rub the lotion on and shit.
Yeah, like you're waxing a surfboard or something like that.
That's what I like to think.
One time you got a star on your, was it on your wrist or your forearm?
Yeah, I got a star on my wrist.
And I remember we were working on something and he bumped his arm.
Yeah, we were at the
Butte office.
Yeah, bumped his arm on the table and you took a hunk out of your arm.
I did.
Because I guess you just recently
It just like ripped the tattoo out. I've never seen that before. It sucked. I had to get it redone.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Because it seemed like that spot was just like you were going to have a hole in your arm.
Yeah, no, when it healed, I went and got it re-tattooed. It was fine.
They filled it with ink.
Yeah, they filled that hole with ink.
They replaced this chunk of flesh with ink.
Put a little spackle on it and paint over it. No big deal. That looks fine. Yeah, it looks like your arm's all healed to me.
Yeah.
Any tattoos that you now regret that you wish you hadn't gotten?
Nah. There's a lot of tattoos I don't care about and that were dumb. But, you know, that's what being a kid's all about, being dumb, right?
What about you? You have some tattoos, Gus.
Yeah.
Anything you regret?
Nah, I don't care.
What about your Atari tramp stamp?
That's funny. I did it for our old website, remember?
I do.
Yeah.
Do you know, I remember I suggested the Atari symbol when you were trying to figure out what to get.
Yeah.
And you then removed the Atari from the bottom, which I think was a good move.
Yeah. And then, back then when I got it, Atari really didn't exist as a company, and then Infogrames bought the name and the brand, and they kind of exist again now, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a weird thing when that happens.
You know, when I was a kid, I'm going to tell you a weird story. I was at the mall, and I was probably 10, and I saw another kid with an Atari shirt on, and I thought, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. So I went home to my mom, and I said, I want to get an Atari shirt. How do I do that? And she goes, well, I think you'd have to write a letter to the company. And I said, oh, okay. So I wrote a letter I found the Atari address, and I wrote a letter asking how to get an Atari shirt. And 2 months later, I got a shirt in the mail. It was a Wimbledon shirt. Atari sent me a Wimbledon shirt.
What?
Yeah, it was the weirdest fucking thing.
Did they have a game, a Wimbledon game?
I don't think so. It was just like a 1984 Wimbledon shirt, or maybe 86.
Fuck, was it kid sized?
I don't know if it like went to Atari's parent company and they just like send out nonsense. But yeah, I got a small Wimbledon shirt. And I remember thinking, I didn't know what Wimbledon was, so I had to ask my mom, and I was like, "What is this?" And she was like, "That's tennis."
Did you mistakenly send the letter to like the U.S. Tennis Association or
No,
something?
I didn't. I sent it to Atari. I have no idea why they sent me. I never understood it.
I wish your mom had trolled you as much as you've trolled her in her life and just said, yeah, Wimbledon's a new game coming out.
She could have, yeah.
Sci-fi.
If she'd have been quicker on the uptake,
It's the new Atari console.
she could have really fucked with me. I'm oh my god, I'm terrible to my daughter about that stuff.
Yeah, I do that with my kids too.
I don't think I've ever told her the truth about anything.
I think a whole generation of dads are going to be influenced by Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah.
And Calvin's dad and that. And
I think so.
I think you see a lot of that on Reddit. I see troll dad stories every now and then
Oh yeah.
about fathers filling their children's heads with misinformation.
Sure, why not? They don't know shit. You can.
It's stupid. It'll teach them to question
That's right.
where they get their information from.
Figure shit out on their own.
What's the longest held belief that you had that would just turn out to be wrong? Something you thought was
Santa Claus for most kids, right?
Well, geez, spoiler for all the kids who listen to the Drunk Tank. But no, is there anything like you believe for way longer than you should have, and that you're embarrassed by it?
Evolution.
Oh man, I don't know. That's a good question. I'm sure
We'll come back to it.
There's got to be stuff like that.
I didn't understand the difference between Washington State and Washington D.C. for the longest time.
You know, it's funny.
I was way too old when I figured that out.
Like I thought the Seattle Seahawks, when I would see them on TV, I thought they were like over by Philadelphia somewhere for some reason.
Yeah.
Until one day I just figured it out in my head they're on the West Coast.
The Seahawks, the Eagles, it would make sense that they keep them close to each other.
Exactly. They're all in the.
It's like a zoo. Keep all the birds over there.
You don't keep the. What is a Seahawk? Is that a real bird? A Seahawk?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Or is that like an ice bat? We had an amateur hockey team or a semi-pro hockey team in Austin called the Austin Ice Bats. It never made any sense whatsoever.
They're gone now, right? They're something else now.
Yeah,
They're the
so.
Stars.
Oh yeah, they moved like they moved up to like a higher level of shitty hockey league, so they changed names.
Yeah.
They probably got the fuck out of the Austin market. You know?
I went and saw a game with Jack one time. It was
Yeah?
pretty fun. I saw the finals, the shitty finals. They lost.
The nice thing about hockey at the non-NHL level is the lower that you go in professional status, the more likely you are to see a massive fight.
Man,
Yeah.
I went and I saw a Houston Aeros game years ago when I used to live in Houston, and that was like their hockey team. I think they were playing like San Antonio or something. I shit you not, there were 13 fights in that game.
That's
and
awesome.
All out, like people running out there, like huge dog piles, people just punching everywhere. It was awesome.
That is awesome.
It's like watching a boxing game on ice.
That's like, what's the old saying? I went to a fight and a hockey game broke out.
Yeah.
That kind of a thing? Yeah.
But yeah, those guys are hungry for either flesh or success or something. They're going to get their satisfaction.
They're all descended from Genghis Khan. That's the 0.5%. They're either going to play hockey or be boxers.
Oh, that makes me wonder if Griffin and I are descended from Genghis Khan then, because we wouldn't be adverse to
That's
eating
right.
people. They're going back to our old podcast discussion.
Yeah, fucking terrible.
Did the Mongols eat people?
Sure, why not? They're barbarians.
Sure.
I don't.
Just throw that in too.
What do you think Mongolian barbecue is?
They can
Don't
also
act so naive.
They can also cast spells. I don't know if that made it into Wikipedia.
Barbarians aren't magic users. Don't be stupid. Someone knocking on our door?
Come in. Hey.
Howdy.
Outside for it. I'm signing for a UPS package. There you go.
Hope
Thanks.
it's
My last name is Burns. Ooh, I got a whole stack of Amazon out there.
Nice.
I'll be right back.
Some of that might be mine, too.
There's some stuff for you in there,
Awesome.
I think. It's probably your RAM.
So, no, I got my RAM already. I don't know. Last year, Toyota was getting a lot of shit for apparently supposedly having electrical problems in their cars.
A
and
lot of shit, dude. The fucking
stuck accelerators. They
our
got fined.
government basically tried to run them out of business.
Yeah,
It
they
was
got
terrible.
Fined huge amounts of money. I guess the analysis of their systems is finally done, and no faults were found in any of their
Yeah.
cars or their electrical systems.
I started to doubt that whole thing after that incident with the guy in California who totally faked his Prius accelerating.
Yeah.
Do you remember that news story?
Yeah.
It was just a really bad con job, like he was trying to set up to sue them or something.
Well, that was crazy because they I mean, as soon as that story came out, Toyota said that doesn't make sense. In the Prius, if you hit the brake and the gas at the same time, the engine shuts off, because if it doesn't shut off, it will, destroy the engine. Mm-hmm. And of course, that all fell apart. But I mean, I don't. So, do they get their money back from the government since nothing was wrong with their cars?
They should.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me that they would pay money for something that wasn't even really a problem.
Yeah.
I never believed much of it anyway, because I have accidentally pressed my accelerator. I didn't drive through my garage wall or anything like that. But you feel like a dumbass when you do it, and if I could blame it on the car company after I'd done probably $20,000 or $30,000 of damage to the side of my house, people are going to do that.
Right.
They always want somebody to be somebody else's fault.
Well, if Toyota wants to reclaim their money, do they go to the government at this point, or do they go to GM? Where do they actually go?
Yeah, where do they? Who signs the check?
I think just got transferred.
Although I say that, do you remember that horrible 911 call that came out during all that, where it was a 25-year vet
that was really bad. Yeah,
of the California Highway Patrol, and they were in a runaway car going down the freeway.
Yeah, I guess what we should clarify. The finding was that there were no faults with the electrical systems in Toyota cars, but there still may have been problems with floor mats getting stuck on the accelerators or sticky accelerators.
Right.
I had a car one time that had the opposite problem, that it would not stay up at speed. Like, you'd be on the highway driving at 70 miles an hour and just pressing the accelerator, and all of a sudden it would just lose speed. Like, the drivetrain just stopped working or something, and we would have to just pull over and wait on the side of the road until it just decided to start working again.
That's awful.
That was really strange. It was just like,
What kind of car was that?
Would you have to wait?
It was a Saturn, which is, I guess went out of business. Maybe it had a few other
How
problems.
long would you have to wait?
It's like 5 minutes or something. It was totally random, and it would just, you'd be driving along at 70 miles an hour, and then you'd just be pressing the accelerator, and suddenly you'd see the needle going down to 50 and 40 and 30, and then you just have to pull over and wait.
Did Saturn go out of business?
Well, yeah, they were one of the brands that got shut down. With
Oh, I
the
didn't know that.
restructuring thing.
There was talks that Penske was going to buy them, but I think that fell apart.
Yeah, and we still have a Saturn, and when we go to have service done on it now, like just regular maintenance or whatever, it's really weird. It's really like you're like a second-class citizen, and you go to the dealership. They have signs. It's like, all the good cars here, and it's like, oh, that other junk that we got rid of. You guys come around the back.
So
don't let anybody see you.
Where do you go for service?
I've been going to. It's like now a Cadillac dealership essentially, but it was like a GM, just a general GM dealership up on 183.
Matt was always the guy who.
Bernie, this is where Bernie's going to talk about how I'm very brand loyal.
I always said he was part of the cult brand. So if there was a brand that wasn't about how good the car was, but just like some other level that they were layering on top of it. Like it means you're smarter or brighter than everybody else that you have this brand. And Saturn was one of those. He was a Saturn loyalist. He was also a Mac loyalist. And in the 90s, I thought, wow, this guy is using Macs all the time and driving a Saturn. Both these companies are going to be out of business in the next 2 years. And at least I was half right. Saturn went out of business, and now everybody that I know uses a Mac.
Apple's
I'm just waiting for Apple to make a car. Then I'm done.
Somebody did a funny post online of if Apple made bottled water.
I saw that.
It was pretty funny.
They have the largest market cap of any tech company, right? Apple?
Yeah,
they're huge.
They have the second largest market cap of any company, period. Only second to Exxon now.
That's crazy.
What's a market cap?
Market capitalization, how much your company is worth based on the number of stocks.
Yeah, stock price times number of stocks.
It's like basically the price tag for the company. If you want to buy the entire company, the total valuation of the company.
I saw an interesting article the other day that talked about profitability by employee,
right?
And how Valve. You guys saw that one? Valve's worth $2 to $4 billion, and that means with the amount of employees they have, that like each employee is worth like $8 million or generates $8 million in revenue.
Yeah,
and Apple was something like $6 million per employee.
Yeah,
I think.
And Google was way less.
Was it?
I don't remember what it was, but apparently they're the company that makes the most per capita per employee. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Per employee. I think you can just say that.
I like that kind of stat.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Cool. That's a very cool stat because it actually talks about the profitability of a company.
Yeah, we're right behind Valve. We're so close.
Yeah, like each one of our employees generates about $8 in revenue. It's pretty awesome.
Literally, I mean, we have to empty our pockets on the table.
It's revenue generating day. Pony up.
We put people on the skyjack and hold them upside down and empty their pockets out.
All right, time to report Q4. Everybody bring your checkbooks to work. But the thing about Valve that I like is that there's a private company, so they're not a public company. Like the thing about, we talk about the market cap of Apple, it's still based on the price of the stock, which at the end of the day doesn't really have much to do with the company. I mean, it has a little bit, but it's crazy now because the actual market cap for Apple will swing based on how people react to their numbers. And they'll say, well, we had our most profitable quarter ever. And someone, they'll say, well, Wall Street will say, oh, well, we knew you would have the most profitable quarter ever, but it wasn't as profitable as we hoped it would be.
You didn't trick us with extra profitability. Therefore, the stock's going to go down.
Yeah, and so then you can actually see the market cap of the company drop, Or they have a massive, big run, like let's say they have the iPad 2 and the iPhone 5 all in the same quarter, and then that quarter's over, and everyone then starts to sell because they say, oh, well, the good quarter's behind us. Even though they've been the most profitable of all time, they're actually worth less at the end of that quarter.
Yeah, they're always concerned with growth. Like, you're doing great now, what are you going to do in the future?
Yeah, but even like, it's like future growth. It's not even like previous growth. Like the growth you're going on through right now. It's like, well, what do you got 6 months from now?
Yeah.
I'm just imagining Joel listening to this podcast later and going, no, guys, you got it all wrong. Let me explain everything. Because Joel's like the guy who spends more time here than anybody else looking at the stock market and analyzing the financial industry and all that.
I'm not listening to Joel anymore.
Nope.
I had a conversation with Joel the other day where he had a
Netflix?
No, he had a momentary weakness where I guess he had a loss that day or so. Who knows what happened? But he was like, sell everything and buy gold. Moved to the Montana.
I had that conversation with him too. After 2 years of recession, and Joel going, "Listen, historically, it's all going to be okay. Just keep pumping money into the stock market. It's going to be fine. I'm telling you, it's going to work out well for you." All you ever hear from Joel Hart started every conversation over the last 2 years with historically. And then he had that one day, and he goes, "No, the stock market's gone to hell. It's going to crash and burn. Nothing's going to be worth anything."
And then the next day, he was back to his old way of, "Oh yeah, everything's fine." You know what
makes me not trust the stock market? It's such a weird thing. It almost seems like a shell game in so many ways.
Seems like a shell game.
Yeah. I mean, like the New York Stock Exchange, right?
Yeah.
Where all these stocks are traded that we're talking about for the most part. Not talking about NASDAQ and the Tokyo, the Nikkei index and all that stuff.
Nikkei, yeah.
The New York Stock Exchange itself is a publicly traded company.
Yes.
What would happen if
they just
investors decided to devalue that stock? Would the stock market itself go away, and then all the other stocks that are on the stock market, what would happen to them?
They'd move to another stock market.
It's just bizarre.
They just merged with a stock exchange in Germany.
That's right, and that's what investors didn't like it, and they went down like 3%.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're just tuning into this podcast, you may have found it in the games and hobby section, but I just want to say we have general misconceptions about all categories of life.
Yeah,
it's all
we can be incorrect about all kinds of stuff.
I think stock market qualifies as games and hobbies.
Hey, speaking of,
we're on the internet, so obviously we're experts.
We had to go into the games and hobbies category because there's no dirt.
There were the least amount of NPR podcasts in the games and hobbies section to beat us every week.
What is the fucking deal with that? What is the deal with that? Because now we're like top rated in the games and hobbies section.
Now, I hope the government fucking cuts funding for NPR.
Oh, they're talking about it,
kill
too.
those podcasts.
Well, I feel like I'm paying taxes to have somebody compete with me.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
So it is taxes, right, Matt? I mean, you're a socialist. Explain how this works.
Oh, I am.
How does this work? How does NPR get their money?
Well, through
They only get a very small portion from the government, actually.
they do those fund drives.
the rest of it comes from listeners like you.
That's right.
and
Girl Scout
Listener-supported radio.
I think we found out where all the Girl Scout cookie money is going.
and they always have those bumpers too. The something Duke Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation.
The MacArthur Foundation, yeah, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're
think it's- I think
beggars.
it's like
They're like the dude with the sign. Except
Somebody should
on the
look this
radio.
up and see if I'm wrong, but I think it's like 95% private donations.
They take 95% of stuff from private donations or from charitable foundations.
I
as
think
well.
so.
Fucking sellouts.
Hey, speaking of those drives, Gus, spring drive starts I think next week. So
Oh.
that's a week not to listen to NPR.
Well, I listen,
So
I
are
listen to
you
it on
choking to
satellite
death
radio.
over
I don't
6
know
months? What is going on with you?
I don't know what's going on.
You're just like one slow choke to death. For,
I know
For death.
it's the worst. I had to leave the room to clear my throat. And,
Did you really?
Yeah.
Did it work?
No, I don't know what's going on with my head.
You know, I feel bad because you're actually going to be out of the podcast for a little while.
Oh,
Yeah.
He's busy with other stuff for a while.
Rooster Teeth. Yeah.
So yeah, you're gonna be out of the podcast for a while.
Yeah, I just got a lot of stuff coming up. I'll probably miss 4 or 5 out of the next 6 or 7 podcasts, which isn't a reason to stop listening, everybody. You can still listen to Gus and Bernie and those guys. They're also interesting.
Yeah, please listen and tell us why we're not as good without Jeff. I look forward to that.
We'll have Joel sit in, and we'll reclassify the podcast into the financial category.
I'll try to sneak in from here and there, but I definitely won't be able to attend next week's podcast.
Is there anything that you would like to say now?
Do you have any predictions for the next week? If you should just read through a list of predictions, and if any of them come
I'm going to predict that the iPod Nano will get, or the iPhone Nano will be announced,
How about this? Let's
Oh,
just
shit. That
and it'll
sounds
be
cool.
a sub $200 no contract phone.
How about Oscar predictions? You put that on the
King's Speech wins best film. I haven't even seen it.
Okay, I saw King's Speech last night.
Oh, did you?
I did, and I thought it was. I thought it was a good movie. I'm so screwed up now from shooting Red versus Blue for 9 years or going into 9 years. Is that when we shoot Red versus Blue, we basically have 8 characters that all look the exact same. They're just different colors, and some of them are really only slightly different colors.
Sure.
And so it can be hard, and there's no mouths moving or anything like that. So I've always shot it in a way that you can tell who's speaking just by where they are in the frame and who they're talking to based on the composition. What is the friggin' deal with the King's Speech and the composition of the shots in that? I mean, they have like 50% headroom on some of the shots, and everyone's on the left side of the frame while they're talking. Matt, what is the point of that?
I liked it. I thought they were trying to close off the space intentionally to make the characters seem like they were having a hard time communicating. Like
Really?
it conveyed it visually to me.
Yeah, but then they applied it later. Like, I get what you're saying, and then when they go to the end and some things are progressing in the story, they become more full frame to the point where like, their whole head is like cut off by the frame, and they're there's a greater
It
sense
had a
of
lot
grandeur.
of very unusual framing for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but then they frame that brother that same way towards the end, which it doesn't. I don't know what they were going for there because he's not having trouble communicating or anything like that. I get that they kind of
Well,
changed
isn't
places.
Wasn't
What
his,
about the subtext?
Wasn't his brother a Nazi sympathizer?
No, well, I think historically, I just don't think they knew what Hitler was like until kind of he started marching across all of Europe.
Yeah.
Like they thought of him as, I think, at least the way it's presented in the film, they refer to Herr Hitler quite a bit, and it's just like another diplomatic guy who's like, oh, he'll take care of that. He'll take care of Eastern Europe. That's what he does.
How did you see it? Is it on DVD already or?
No, I saw it at the theater across the street
Oh, okay.
in an empty theater. It was just me and my wife.
They were playing that here at the South Park Meadows.
Yeah, South Park Meadows, right across the street from us.
Interesting.
Hey,
I thought it was good. There's so many movies now nominated for Best Picture. It's like really just an effort to see all of them. I'm just
it's
like,
fucking ridiculous.
I just can't go see all those movies. 10 movies is too many for me.
By the way, I just want to say this. You're all guys, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You're out on your date with your wife. We couldn't go out on Valentine's Day, so we went the day after Valentine's Day.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we walk into a movie theater. There's no one in the movie theater but us. a little bell goes off in my head. Hey, this is pretty awesome.
Hand
And
jobs.
My wife says, hey, this is pretty awesome. And I'm like, yeah. She goes, we can put our feet up. There's a mental disconnect between me and my wife, I think, of what an empty movie theater means on Valentine's Day.
That's not code or anything, right? Like, she just put her feet up.
You know, one time when I was
Too
in
bad, 'cause that is a sexy movie. King's Speech.
Hey, baby, when you do that, can you stutter?
when I was in high school, I saw when I was in high school, I saw Firewalk with Me at the Dollar Theater, the Twin Peaks movie, and I was the only person in the theater. And about 15 minutes in, some guy came and sat three seats next to me, and I was just watching the movie, and there was like a nude scene at one point in the One Eye Jack's bar, and I looked over, and the dude was just jacking off like crazy right next to me. I had to leave. I was like 16, scared the shit out of me.
Wow, really?
Yeah, dude was going to town. So I don't know. I was all like, "Why do you have to sit? There's fucking 200 seats in this place."
We formally met 10 years later.
Yeah, and fell in love.
He was wearing a gray blazer and a red bow tie. You know, Paul Rubens is going to be in town for South by Southwest.
Oh, is he?
Apparently, that whole thing about this Pee Wee Herman was caught in an adult theater in a compromising position. And he swears to this day that it was a complete misunderstanding, that those cops just really fucked him over.
Yeah, I heard him talking about that recently, and about how.
Wouldn't you say that too?
Yeah, I would. Just like the reporter who went and got checked out for a stroke, I would do the exact same thing. We haven't talked about that yet. It's not funny. She had a stroke. It's like, no, she didn't have a stroke. She went to the doctor under suspicion that she had a stroke and then went home that night. They don't let you walk out with a stroke. I'm pretty sure she had a seizure or something, though.
She may have died from embarrassment.
Oh, my God.
We're waiting for the autopsy.
You know, I wanted to try an experiment because there's a thing that can happen. I don't know if you guys have ever dealt with it before, where if you're listening to yourself in a monitor or an earpiece and you get out of sync with that, if that thing ends up like, half a second delayed or a second delayed and you're hearing your own echo, it can really kill your ability to talk, which is something
It's really confusing.
Yeah, it can happen. But this reporter that we're talking about, if you haven't seen it, she was reporting on the Grammys, and she just, within half a sentence, loses her ability to speak. It's called aphasia, I believe, right, Gus?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a common symptom of a stroke is if you have a stroke in the speech center in your brain, suddenly you can't make any sense whatsoever.
Well, it's not that she couldn't speak. She couldn't make words. She was making noise. And she may have been communicating in a language that's been dead to us for thousands of years.
Might have been Esperanto. But no, she was talking, she was saying words, they just didn't make any sense.
I don't know.
It was something.
It was like nonsense. It was like something out of a horror movie. It's just like some demon possessed her.
And I notice nobody's making any jokes, because if we make any jokes about this, we're going to get a lot of hate mail. I just want to point out something, though. Okay. What she said, what she did was funny. She made funny sounds with her mouth.
Yeah, she did.
She did that. In that moment, that was funny, and a lot of people found it funny. Then she thought, oh, she had a stroke. This is totally inappropriate. But it seems weird to me that it's okay to make fun of somebody for just fucking up and essentially just being stupid and being a dumb person their whole life. Like, I'm crippled through life because I'm dumb.
Right.
That's okay to make fun of. But if they have like a momentary physical malady, am I saying that right, Matt?
Malady.
Thank you. Then all bets are off, and you can't poke fun at it, I guess.
That's unfair.
So what a killer! And now we'll move on to something else, I guess. But I did actually find you could post this in a link dump. I could find an instance where that had happened before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was a
reporter.
There's a newscaster who literally almost the exact same thing. She's reporting on like election results in Pennsylvania and Ohio, and she gets to the word Ohio, and then pop, she can't talk anymore. And
Really?
She goes on for like a sentence and a half. And apparently she had a history of seizures where she had like this little tremor in her brain essentially, and it just killed her ability to speak for 30, 40 seconds.
you gotta send that to me.
I'm gonna cause some link dump damage to Gus here. What's the funniest news reporter clip you've ever seen?
I think it's the old dude arguing with the anchor when he's doing the on the spot interview.
That's a pretty good one that they made like 17 SNL skits after. Yeah. I like the Russian lady who passes out in the middle of her spiel, and then the set falls on her.
That's a good one.
And then the guy looks over at her and just keeps reporting.
I found that video. It took me forever to find that video after this thing with this woman at the Grammys.
Oh, really?
Because you and I saw that back in like
Long time ago.
2001 or something.
Yeah,
that's
it
an old
was
video.
back when we used to watch stuff on Hardcore TV
Yeah.
on IGN's forums.
You know where I found the video?
Where?
E-Bombs World.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that was the only place that I could find it.
You got to get in a time machine on the internet to see old videos.
No, I went to E-Bombs World and then I had to go take a shower, like a 40-minute hot shower.
And another good news one is the woman stomping the grapes.
Oh, that's
She
that's
falls
like
out.
so great.
See, that's a good example. That woman is hurt. It's clear. You know in the video when you're watching it. You know she's hurt. She can't breathe. She's got her wind knocked out of her. You know? I guess that's okay to laugh at.
Hell yeah, it is because she's a cheater.
She was cheating.
That fucking cheater.
Here, look
That's
up
what
on
you get.
YouTube. Look up newscaster seizure.
Oh man,
I'm only going to find this woman from the Grammys.
No, you'll find this one woman. Her name is, I think, Sarah Clarkson, I want to say. She's in Wisconsin. Is there any way you can play that audio over this?
Yeah, if I find it.
Should be the top link if you look up newscaster seizure.
Newscaster, one word or two words?
One word.
All right, newscaster, Spanish newscasters?
Like spellcaster, but with news. Newscaster seizure. Look up reporter seizure. Matt and Jeff, talk amongst yourself.
so what are you working on this week, Matt?
This one.
Yeah, right there.
Just my coffee intake.
I noticed that you guys are filming like now we're like perennially filming like
But
He's got
Six
the
shorts at
audio.
once.
Guys, he's got the audio here.
Is the latest state, including Iowa, Kansas, Maine, Ohio, and Wyoming, to join Florida's suit. The states claiming the Exorcist saw unto Sracho and play Greenrich by Help or Assist.
she's dying.
I mean, the brain is a crazy, crazy thing. What is the hardest you've ever laughed at something you've actually found out hurt somebody pretty badly later? I got to admit, I laughed pretty hard at that Grammy thing because I thought it was just a very pretty woman.
It seems like
screwing
she
up.
just got super nervous all of a sudden.
Right.
It doesn't seem like there's any kind of problem with her.
Which is totally relatable.
yeah.
Maybe the lady in the squashing the grapes again.
When Jack got robbed a second time, I very quietly laughed for about 4 days.
He was so mad.
Yeah, it was.
Well, now you've been robbed twice too.
Yeah, the joke's on me.
Yeah, so it comes around to karma.
I also laughed at that.
I don't think you did.
I can't believe all my stuff's gone. Yay.
Yeah.
Who do you think will be robbed again? You or Jack first?
I don't know.
Do you feel like a competition?
I feel pretty safe. I've taken steps to ensure. I got a moat. I got flamethrowers.
He put a shotgun behind his front door tied to fishing line, so if you
Yeah.
open the door...
That is so weird you said that because that's exactly what I was thinking about. What is that? Did we pick that up somewhere?
I don't know.
That's the first thing I would do.
I got the
This
world's
seems like a
scariest fucking dog.
Seems like a Looney Tunes thing.
Duct tape a shotgun to a chair,
Yeah.
and then tie it to the door handle. I don't even know how it would work, but it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you about the time that I really pissed off one of my buddies in college? We lived together. It was like we lived in a big house, and I was in a fraternity. And one of the guys in the fraternity was a Jewish guy, and he would just, you just rib each other, you give each other shit
Sure.
in college about stuff. And just gonna sound like it's my excuse of making fun of Jewish people, but that's not what it is at all. He went off to a final because he had been studying for this final all night. And so I went in and I went down to Longhorn Copies on the Drag, and I got their empty waste sack from their industrial hole puncher. So I got about 3 trash bags full of white hole punches, the little dots.
Okay.
And I put those in mounds all over his room. And I went through the house and I got everyone's fans, everyone's just, room fans that they had, because this was an unair conditioned fraternity house. And I put all the fans pointing at the little mounds of industrial hole punches everywhere, and then I strung up Christmas lights all over, and then somebody had a record player, and so I had a record player plugged in as well with a little mini Christmas tree on it, all plugged into one power strip, and then I had the power strip turned on, but unplugged, and then I spliced a switch into an extension cord, plugged into that, and connected that to his door. And I also had a tape player, which was on play, queued up to Santa Claus Coming to Town, to the moment where it says, you better not pout, you better not cry. And then they said, I was upstairs when it happened, they said he opened his door, all these came on, all this white shit blows out of his room onto him, and the tape came on like, you better not pout, you better not cry. He went fucking ballistic. He went crazy. He went really crazy. And he took a knife and cut all the power cords to everybody's fans. That's how mad he was about
That's
it.
funny.
It was like one of the greatest pranks of all time, which I think is like a compliment if you go out of your way to prank somebody like that. He did not see it that way.
I used to do this thing to my roommates when I was in the Army where, you know those little boxes you could get, you probably still buy them, that have like a loop on it and you pull the loop out and it's like a little pin and then it makes the loudest noise ever. It's for like women who, in case they get, somebody's going to try and rape them.
Yeah.
They pull it and then like half of the planet comes to save you. I used to take those and tape it to the top of their door.
Oh my God.
And put the pin on a hook. And so when they'd open the door, it'd pop the pin out. The pin would go flying in the room somewhere. And it'd be dark. It'd be 2 a.m. And the noise is deafening and you can't be in the room with it. And the batteries will last forever. And so you have like, my roommates would always have their like rolling around on the ground with their hands covering their ears, like trying to find the fucking pin or anything that they can put in that. So if anybody wants to try that, it's
Smash him and get the battery out of it.
Works
That's what you
great.
do sometimes, too.
You are an evil, bad person.
I used to do it about 3 times a week.
Oh my God.
Once you
Never
get
get
something
old.
that never gets old.
Yeah, no, it never gets old.
I remember we had that achievement race that I put those things in your house.
Oh,
that would chirp every 5 minutes. They'd make like a
The chirpers? Yeah.
random beeping noise.
My wife cannot hear one of those chirps. Like, I know it's cycled through a few different kinds, and there's one of them that she cannot hear. Like, it's super annoying to me, and she's like, what? Is it on?
That's like the thing that they use to keep teenagers away.
Right.
You know?
Called
I
the
think-
mosquito.
Yeah. It was like adults can't hear that noise that it makes. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's at the frequency before your ears get jaded.
Oh, I think it's when you're the most jaded.
Yeah. It's like your ears are like, I can't listen to that. I have a mortgage to pay. But only kids can hear it, so they play it outside of convenience stores or wherever kids hang out, teenagers hang out.
Getting back to the break-in stuff, I really feel bad for the person that tries to break into my house now, though. In about a year, when my dog is fully grown, it's going to destroy somebody.
Yeah?
I got this special dog. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast. I got a Neapolitan Mastiff.
Yeah, we've talked about
It's
it.
a war dog. And they don't bark. If they sense somebody breaking in, they sneak up on you.
Really?
Yeah. It's bred into them. They were like Napoleon used them in battle, and they won't make any noise at all. They're very quiet, and they'll come up and they'll attack you from behind. And the dog is all head. She's about 160 pounds.
I'm disappointed that the name comes from Napoleon because I was really hoping it was like chocolate, vanilla, strawberry color.
Oh yeah, they used to do this thing.
They'll do that eventually.
Yeah, don't worry. But we'll get her tattooed. They also used to do this thing where they would stick spikes on the back of the dog and train them to run under horses and then eviscerate the horses.
Wow.
That's what they did in battle.
That's pretty fucking gruesome.
I feel like I should record you saying all this, so when you say to me at some point in the future, how come you're not coming over to our house for parties? I'll say, because you have a fucking 300-pound dog that sneaks up on you.
Just don't ride a horse.
And eviscerates you.
Yeah.
See, I would picture you as having like a St. Bernard that has the
I
barrel of
had a
whiskey.
Saint Bernard. It was the best dog ever.
Oh, that's right.
I would like another Saint Bernard, but I was afraid that like no other Saint Bernard will live up to my previous dog, Jupiter, and I would just be comparing them to Jupiter all the time. Wouldn't be fair to the dog.
What's wrong with you, really?
There's a lot.
No,
wrong
I
with
can
me.
see that.
Really?
I really like that
That's
dog.
mental, dude. That's absolutely mental. You're saying if your dog died, you wouldn't buy another version of whatever that shitty dog you
I'm
have
never
is?
buying another Shih Tzu because I have the ultimate Shih Tzu already.
Yeah, I mean, you know, what are you just going to be like, oh, my golden died, I'll just replace it with another golden.
Yeah, like,
They're not
oh,
interchangeable.
this one's not as good as the other one was.
God, married life has changed Gus so much.
Yeah.
He owns a little dog that you have to groom
That dog is awesome, though.
and comb. What the hell happened? You know when
I do not have to groom and comb that dog. Someone grooms and combs that dog, but it sure as hell isn't me.
Yeah, you're just at work all day. While she's at home grooming and combing the dog. No, you know how I knew what was the moment when Gus was transitioning from angry single Gus to angry married Gus? What was that moment for you? 'Cause I have a very, very
I can't.
clear moment in my head.
Man, I can't wait to hear this.
Okay, we were in the Buda office because you had met your wife, and I don't know if you were engaged at the time, but you were going to be married.
Uh huh.
And Gus shows up at work one day.
Oh, right.
And he
I was married.
He has a little Tupperware container that I didn't even know existed. It's like the size of, it's a tiny like thimble Tupperware size. And he opens it up and he's eating gummy bears out of it. I'm like, what the fuck is that? He goes, oh, my wife. And he like shows me he's got a few of them. My wife wants to make sure I have snacks at work. So she packs me these snacks.
Holy shit.
Organized Tupperware thing.
How did I miss that?
You were sat right next to me. I
don't
gave you
remember
some.
that at
Yeah,
all.
you ate some out of there.
Man, I must have blocked it for our friendship's sake.
You loved
Man.
it. Shut the fuck up.
I have no memory of that at all.
It was like a fourth of a cup size little Tupperware thing.
It
And
was
then you take
awesome.
the Tupperware home with you so that she could refill it with snacks. For
Yeah, you weren't complaining when you were eating gummy bears.
I eat gummy bears with a handful. I can't. I don't have time to mess with the little Tupperware container.
I think one of the only memories I have of the Buda office is I was trying to eat healthy back then at one point, and I went to Whole Foods and I bought like an $18 little container. It was a big container of trail mix because I thought I could snack on that and be healthy. And I bought it. I had like a handful, stuck it in my desk, went home for the day, came back to work the next day, and went in to get some, and the container was gone. And then so I started looking around the office for it, and I found it empty on Bernie's desk. He ate like 14 pounds of trail mix in one evening.
It's awesome. It was a very long trail that evening.
It's
And
like
the next day.
it must have been like 6,000 calories of
my
trail
God.
mix. I don't know how you did it.
It's easy.
You ate like a couple boxes of Fig Newtons once. I remember that.
I have stick-to-itiveness. I have fortitude.
I've also heard but not seen Bernie fall asleep while eating a package of gummy bears, which is a pretty neat trick.
Yeah.
When we were in Seattle and staying, we didn't have a hotel room for some. We couldn't get enough hotel rooms. They were all booked up for some reason, and it was me, Joel, and Bernie had to sleep in the same room. And Joel was like, "We gotta get back to the hotel." I'm like, "What's the hurry?" He's like, "I gotta fall asleep before Bernie does." Really bad if Bernie falls asleep first. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I just gotta get back there. I gotta get back there right now. So we get to the hotel, and it's like all three of us at the same time, of course. And then Bernie starts, going through the mini bar, finding where we can get this huge package of gummy bears. That was probably like $60, knowing the mini bar prices. And we, turn out the lights. Everybody's going to sleep, and I can hear Joel sighing from the bed, like, like he's so angry that he knows he's not going to get to sleep, and Bernie's going to be snoring and keep him up for the next 4 hours. He's just over there like that, and then Bernie is eating gummy bears. You can hear the crinkling of the package. It's just like crinkling. It goes straight from crinkling to snoring without missing a beat. It's like, I don't know how you did it. It's
Oh my
It's like an episode of Always Sunny.
And so basically, I think I was up the latest because I was just laughing at the snoring, and then it would be, and then you'd hear Joel go.
I do have a superpower though, which is I can fall asleep anywhere. Like when I was falling asleep there, I was sleeping on the floor in the corner.
Yeah.
Like I will sleep anywhere. It doesn't matter. If we're in a situation like that, I'll say, just give me a pillow. I'll sleep on the floor. I could care less.
Yeah, last time Gavin was here, didn't you test that?
That's right, yeah.
He would randomly come up to you and ask you to fall asleep somewhere, and you'd fall asleep like in the recording closet at the office.
Yeah, he did. He said, "Go to sleep." He didn't believe me, and so we were working on season 7 of Red vs. Blue, and it was 1:00, I think, on a Tuesday, and he said, "Go to sleep right now. I'll work on the scene. Go to sleep right now." He issued the challenge. I was asleep within 4.5 minutes.
It's one of those things where I'd say, we should test this with, time-lapse photography to see how long it takes you, but it's like, you don't even need that. I mean, it's just like, you press record on the video camera, and it's like...
Yeah, he'd be asleep before you got set up.
Yeah.
I go sleep right now. That's it. I'm that close
Let me
to the edge all
get
the
you some gummy bears, and then you go ahead.
time. Yeah, I think my wife has trouble falling asleep, and I've never had that issue of having trouble falling asleep. I don't understand the process. You put your head in a pillow, you close your eyes, you're asleep in 45 seconds. That's the way it works to me.
Yeah, I can also fall asleep pretty easily. When I was younger, I had trouble falling asleep, but I love it. It's the best thing in the world. I feel like you can just... when I fall asleep, I don't know how it works for you, I feel like I just turn my brain off. I just stop thinking.
Yeah.
It's like, that's it. Time to go to sleep.
Huh.
Close eyes, fall asleep. Every now and then I might
Not you,
have...
Jeff?
Fuck no, dude.
Every now and then I might have insomnia or, not be able to sleep for a day or two, but
I
that's no big
had
deal.
daily insomnia from the day I joined the Army until pretty much the day I got divorced. And I just assumed that I was a person with insomnia. But as soon as my first wife and I got separated, I started sleeping like a baby, and I've never had a problem
You know
since.
what?
Turns
If
out...
I was in the Army playing pranks on people with those rape whistle alarm things, I would be a very light sleeper too, and try to avoid sleeping
that's
as
a good
much as
point.
possible.
We did a lot of bad stuff to each other in the Army. That's probably why I had trouble early on, because you didn't want to go to sleep. You didn't want to be in any of the first 20 people.
How many people are you're in a huge bunk room or something, right? How many people are in there?
60.
60.
God damn, dude. The first person that goes to sleep, the next day, they wake up with a Polaroid picture of somebody's dick in their mouth the next day. It used to happen so often. You'd be like...
What do they do now without Polaroid cameras? Do they? Is it all digital cameras?
I don't know. Just a printout.
It's like they put it on your Facebook page.
Is that the main reason they're changing the don't ask, don't tell policy?
It might
it's
be,
like,
dude.
we need have more dick and mouth pranks.
You'd be like...
that with the complete abandon. We don't want anybody to get...
You'd be waking up in the morning, putting your socks on or whatever, and you just hear somebody go, "Motherfucker! God damn it! Not again!" and some dude would be just like standing there with looking at a picture of a dick in his mouth.
Dear Lord.
Oh man, he used to have it constantly.
You know, I earlier said that I was in a fraternity in college, and I was. I never dealt with anything like that. I never dealt with any hazing, any weird stuff like that. Nothing like your stories from the Army of stuff you had to deal with. You know, just random anti-Semitic pranks that we play at each other from time to time. And when I was in high school, I was in theater, which is a weird thing to go from the theater group in high school to in a fraternity in college. But the hazing in that group was way worse, way
In the theater group?
Yeah, we had the Thespian Society, and when the pledges would come in, I mean, they were brutal. I mean, these are freshmen in high school, and it was the end of the year, and they were fucking brutal to them.
But now, just because maybe you didn't get hazed that much in your frat, but I know there were some other guys in there that were hazing each other pretty badly. Like there was, I think one of your guys, his main prank that he pulled on people was just to piss in their bed while they were gone. Right?
We would fuck with people.
Oh,
I mean,
my
there's no
God.
question. You play pranks or screw with people. Absolutely. The best thing you do is play a prank on somebody, and then blame it on somebody else, and they get the retaliation going in the wrong direction. That was the best. We had a beach party where we filled the whole first floor with sand, and then here's the thing: the pledges set up the parties and cleaned up the parties, but as a guy, I could see this is a good value because I'll set up a party. It was a blast. I got to know everybody. And then I never had to set up or clean up from another party for 3.5 years after that. Or in my case, 6.5 years after that. Not a single party. So that makes sense to me. So in that sense, it was hazing where the pledges had to do all the work. We had to clean the house and we had to set up and break down the parties. But that's just to me an investment, and that was no big deal. But the pledges were cleaning up, and I was talking with the pledges and drinking while they're shoveling sand out from the beach party. And I said, let me see one of your shovels. I filled one of my buddy's rooms up with sand. The guy, he's a doctor now. I filled his room like 2 inches deep in sand. And he came in, and he goes, what the fuck? I go, I told the pledges not to do it, but because he was the president of the fraternity. He was the president of the fraternity. I said, I told him not to do it. And we had one pledge who lived in the house. He filled the guy's car with sand. And it was like this endless battle. And he was so pissed. And I almost stayed out of it. Almost got away scot-free, but it finally came out that I was the guy who filled his room with sand.
You know, like the cruelest thing I've ever done in terms of pranking, and probably what got me into filmmaking actually, was in high school. There was this kid that we hung out with that had a stuffed animal that he still slept with, and he was kind of like, he wasn't even really defensive about it. It was just kind of like his thing that he had a stuffed animal, and it was a whale. He called it Whaley. And we took it one time and got a video camera, like we borrowed a video camera from somebody, and went around town just doing horrible, obscene things to this. Like went to a truck stop and like dipped it in the toilet. We took it to a McDonald's. I don't know how we got away with this. We took it to a McDonald's and had it like fried on the hamburger fryer.
Wow.
And, I mean, like all kinds of
Hopefully
great
that was
stuff.
before the toilet.
I don't think it was.
Oh God!
And we videotaped the whole thing and then returned the stuffed animal. You know, after like running it through the dryer or whatever, returned the stuffed animal and the videotape, and just left it for him. And I don't think he ever spoke to us again.
Oh my God!
I did something.
But I really enjoyed the filmmaking experience. It's like,
That's how you got the bug?
I could do this for a career.
I did this thing to a roommate I had once in the Army who I fucking hated with a passion. And so he was getting restationed. He was moving on. And so the night before he left, you have to set out your duffel bags and stuff. And then he went to bed, and he had to get up at like 4 a.m. to catch a plane. And so I waited till he went to sleep, and I very quietly unpacked half of his duffel bag, and then I pissed in it, and then I repacked it up for him and relocked it. And I never talked to him again. I hope he doesn't listen to the podcast.
Oh my God, he's gonna come hunt you down.
Yeah, his name was Dave. I fucking hated him. He was such a little cocksucker.
Wow, so that wasn't even a prank. You were just fucking with a guy.
Yeah, no, I just fucking with him.
I've actually given up on some of my pranking stuff. I used to be much more. I know, sir.
We don't really
brand
do it in the
and the
office.
2.0 crowd, they're big into pranking. They use that Gus thing, that Gus cutout that we have,
Yeah.
and they're constantly setting that up to scare people. Matt would fucking prank me when he'd rewire my setup every 20 minutes for no reason whatsoever. Every time we had an interview, I'd go to show. You know, it was like MTV News came to see how we shoot machinima.
Just trying to keep you on your toes,
God,
baby.
that was the worst. Like that dude, what was that guy's name?
Sway.
And be like, I'm really sorry, Sway. It usually works. Give us just an hour to figure out.
Yeah,
troubleshoot our
trace
setup.
every-
I swear we made a video yesterday.
God.
Do you guys remember the awful conversation that Sway got in with the coffee shop worker down below?
Oh my God!
Remember that?
The
Were-
lady was
were you-
trying to.
Yeah,
I was
like-
there.
It
the
was
little
like
lady.
I don't know if you guys remember Sway, but he's like he's a black guy with like kind of like dreadlocks,
Big head.
and he had big head, and he had what do you call like the
Like a
Rastafarian
Rastafarian
cap.
kind of hat? That's
Yeah.
like, you know, and we're in small town Buda, you know, and she's very nice, but the white lady who was behind the counter at the coffee shop was trying to make conversation with
Yeah.
him on his level, and it's like he's kind of like a, you know, kind of cool hip dude from New York, and it's just like it was just like was not happening, and she just kept pulling out stuff like, I like your hat, it's very colorful.
You people have the nicest hats.
Yeah, you're very colorful. I don't mean that like you're a colored person, but you're
Oh my
colorful.
God.
I mean, you know what I'm saying, right? And I love the hair. How do you do that? You know, I mean, it's like really just it just got worse and worse.
I imagine that there's really no more embarrassing, offensive situation than when you're a minority with a white person trying to show you how they're not racist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
do
actually
you remember
apologized to him outside.
He told another story. No, it was either him or
No,
Caduce.
Caduce.
Was it Caduce? No,
Yeah.
it was Sway.
Was-
Sway. God, did they come twice? I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Caduce guy was funny. I wonder what we should look him up and see what he's doing now. But after he got the coffee and was like, had to have this horrible conversation with this woman who was trying to show him how enlightened she was.
Yeah.
And then basically embarrassing the shit out of him, and he just shook his head and took his coffee. Our office in Buda was really just an apartment that was over some retail shops. And there were 3 other apartments there that looked just like ours. So he just went to walk back up to our office, then walked in the wrong door that looked just like ours and walked straight into someone's apartment. And he said he walked in and there's this white lady in her kitchen looking back in his eye. He said she was fully clothed, but she covered her breasts and her vag and goes, he walked in on her in the shower. She covers herself up, and he's like, "Oh no!" And he walked out. He's like, "Man, I gotta get out of this now."
Oh, that's awesome. Do you remember that dude?
poor guy.
That
Poor guy, dude. That poor guy. He might never go back to Texas his whole life.
Oh my
now.
god!
do you remember that dude? That dude Caduce. You were saying he was a funny guy. The thing that was interesting about him, we were talking to him, and he was about to leave MTV. This was one of the last gigs he was doing.
Yeah.
Before he left as a VJ, and we were asking him why he was going to leave, and because he turned 25.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
I had forgotten about
He
that.
was like, "Yeah, man, I'm 25. I got to go."
He was at the end of his contract, yeah, and it was just like a
like,
Logan's
"I'm too
Run
old."
thing.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta get out."
And we were like, "How the fuck does that movie review guy still get to be on the show if you have to leave when you're 25?"
Kurt Loder.
And he was like talking about not Kurt Loder, the other dude, Chris Connolly. Is that his name?
Both of them are old guys.
There was a bunch
yeah.
of there was several old guys.
And
on
he
there.
was talking about how that was the like unhappiest dude on the planet.
This is all hearsay, by the way.
This is all going to be cut.
Maybe not.
But it was
Allegedly.
From him, I definitely got a Logan's Run feeling from
Yeah.
MTV. That
Yeah.
once you hit a certain age at MTV, it's just accepted that your gem in your palm turns clear and get the fuck out. Thanks for coming. We're gonna grind you up into a blood paste for Kurt Loder to drink, and that's the circle of life at MTV.
Well, before we go too long, we should start thinking about wrapping things up. I know we can never wrap things up when I say that we should.
Well, now I want to wrap it up just because you said we have to talk about more stuff.
But one thing that I do want to mention before we wrap up is we wanted to talk about something we're doing in May.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we're ready to talk about it?
Yeah, we are.
We've done a lot of community events like RBTO and Can West for the past few years.
Philly and South Carolina.
yeah,
There's a million of them.
all those guys, and we thought that it was time for us to start one. So this May, what holiday is that? Memorial Day?
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day weekend, which is, I believe, May 27th, 28th, and 29th, we're going to have a community fan event here in Austin.
Yep, it's going to be.
It's going to be a small event,
What are you going to call it? Rooster, Texas? RTX?
something like that.
Gus, you and Griffin have been working on this behind the scenes for almost a year now, right? Not that long.
A couple months.
Six, 7 months.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
last year we had another event at the Alamo to premiere the first few episodes of season 8, and that
Yeah.
went really well. We had people coming down from all over just to go to that Alamo screening.
Yeah.
And we have a guy from Michigan that
Yeah,
came
we
down.
did.
And so we thought, yeah, it was a good test year. This year, let's do something a little bigger. So we're doing a full weekend at the end of May. Gus, how can people get tickets to this? Because we're going to do very, very limited.
Very limited. We're just going to sell them through our store.
Okay.
And we're going to open it up to sponsors first. We're going to work all that out, and hopefully we'll have those in the store. Not today, but soon.
It's going to be a pretty limited engagement too, right?
Yes.
Like we're going to cap it Do you know what the attendance will be?
It'll be about 200 people.
About 200.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a possibility that we may be able to extend a screening part of it to a slightly bigger audience, but then we have a whole weekend of events planned.
Yes.
Three-legged race.
Tours of the office are on the table right now
Yep.
for the group, and then the big thing that we want to do is we're going to take the 250 people and we're going to
200 people.
200 people. We're going to figure out a way to include them as part of a Rooster Teeth Productions, most likely a
Yes.
Rooster Teeth short.
Yes.
And so we'll put them in that. And that'll be fun. So that'll be one of the days you'll actually be on the set of a Rooster Teeth production and joining us. So it should be a good time.
Yeah, we're still hammering out a schedule, but we just wanted to let everyone know, give them the heads up. It's because it's a little over 3 months away. But I guess check the website. We'll have updates on it, and you'll be hearing more about it in the coming months.
Okay, so Gus, if I'm a person I want to go to this, what should be my next steps?
I guess start
Just email Gus at roosterteeth.com, right?
just start pricing out travel arrangements if you're out of town.
So
that weekend.
So you're saying the weekend is set.
Yeah, the weekend is set.
Can you give me a ballpark of how much a ticket might cost to the thing beyond the cost of travel?
We're going to try to keep it low cost.
Okay.
We're looking. We might sell the tickets for like $25 each.
And will that include like travel to and from events and stuff as well?
We are probably going to, if you want travel, we're going to have a shuttle service. We're still working that part out. If you pay an extra $5, you'll get to ride our shuttle